For over 2 decades, we've been warning parents the war's coming. The storm is coming. I'm Glenn Ellison. Thank you for joining us. We started a long time ago. We're not rookies. I believe I figured out that together we have around 40 years of working with parents.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so we know what we're doing. And when we started, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know what I was getting into. I just knew that somebody had to help these parents because there is nothing out there that would take on these kids until the kids got into the justice system.
Absolutely.
Once they got into the juvenile justice system, then, wait a minute, isn't the horse already out of the barn?
It's already out, brother. And there's, at that point, the damage is now created long term for that child. Mm-hmm. And I'm just glad, Glenn, that you have the passion. God gave you the passion to see the problem and to actually do something about it. And that's what you've been doing for the last 24, 25 years. And I've been with you for some time because I saw the same passion in you actually explode over the years to help these parents become better parents so that we can produce better children. It is our responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you took that mantle on and continue to do so, even at your age, and passion never dies. Mm-mm. And that's what you got, brother. And I'm proud of that.
And the sad thing about it, Denver, it hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't.
Well, I know why, but I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
The bottom line is we're going to be sharing stories with successful parents who stuck with it, who didn't quit, who did whatever it took to put peace in their home. And so to reach families today, we're going to put together a YouTube channel, a podcast, and a faith channel for the parents who realize you're not going to be very successful doing it your way. God's way is a whole lot better. So I want to talk to you about a letter that a mom sent to us, and then we're going to discuss what she had to say. Mr. Glenn, the first thing I remember about you when introduced several years ago was how tall you were, and I was intimidated by your size and your voice. It reminded me of boot camp. Well, I know a little bit about boot camp. Today, I'm still intimidated, but not by your size or your voice. What I learned about you since that day is that truly you are a humble man. Not humble at camp. I'm not humble when a kid standing in front of me defying me. That you do not depend on your reputation, your physical presence to accomplish your God-given task.
Amen.
You stay on your knees, not looking down or around, but to the higher power, the one who sustains, guides, guards, and strengthens you. And lest we forget Miss Sheila too. We won't ever forget Miss Sheila. She's a vital part of what we've done for over 20 years. She continues, praying for you, she says, your camp and the staff and the parents and the young lives that will be forever changed because you are trusting the Lord, seeking His will and His way to effect change in the lives for eternity, praying it may be so. Well, when we first started this, it was at Cary State Forest, and a mother said to me years ago, she said, once I got there and understood why it wasn't called a state park, it was the woods. Actually, it was a 14,000 acre wilderness.
Wow.
And when she got there in the dark, waiting and hoping somebody was going to show up, she said, it got my attention and it got her daughter's attention as well.
Absolutely.
It didn't take me long to realize that there was way more to this acting out that I was dealing with than just behavior. A lot of this is manipulation.
Sure, absolutely. Right.
These kids know what they can do to push the right button at the right time to get mom and dad to back off.
Absolutely.
And so something just wasn't right. I kept thinking to myself, these kids were so disrespectful, so argumentative, and so defiant, and absolutely unmanageable. Something else had to be going on. Both Denver and I are men of faith. That simply means we're going to do the best we can to follow the teaching of a book that we call the Bible. That's what some people call it. I call it my game plan.
Amen. For life.
Playbook. And my coach, he's never lost a game. That means we're not going to be perfect. It just means that we're trying to do it the right way. Do we make mistakes?
Absolutely, Glenn. And along the way, I think all parents recognize we make bad choices. But the Bible gives us a very clear-cut plan on how we should be rearing our children. But the change has to begin with us. We have to be willing to submit to the process that the Bible teaches how we are supposed to rear our children. And that's one of our mottos, change parents, we'll see change kids. And we teach our parents that they have to model the behavior that they expect from their children, which means they have to come into alignment with the word first and then model that behavior so that their children can follow. So if, the Bible tells us, tells parents, don't provoke your children to wrath. And they do it all the time. And so that child comes right back at them. And this is why our motto is no more arguing. Parents have to stop arguing first, debating, and just hold their role as the parent and not give in to the desire to get some type of revenge or argue back at that child. So when you provoke that child to anger and they come back at you with anger, well, then we got to stop that process first. And the Bible clearly tells us, parents, you should not provoke your children to wrath.
Well, the problem is parents have already developed the habit.
Sure.
And like any habit, smoking, drinking, cussing, you name it, it's hard to break a habit.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to change overnight. It's going to take practice. It's going to take hard work. And it's going to have to humble yourself and say, I lost my temper, son. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Well, Glenn, that's where we come in as an organization. We come in alongside that parent to help change come, to help model that change for them, and then help coach them through that process of change so that they can change and become better. That is the whole idea why we exist. We can't control anybody, but as long as that parent sticks around us and as we show them how to do it, and then we model it, and then we help them to develop that process in them over a process of time, they get it. And we have seen many parents transform their way of thinking. Instead of first knee-jerk reaction as to argue, they just be quiet and follow the plan that we've given them, the plan that actually you tailored for them specifically for their family. And that's what the good thing about it, Glenn. There's no one size fits all. Every child is different, but you have allowed the process. God gave you wisdom on how to manage the process for each family you deal with and each process for every one of those parents to coach their child into becoming better.
There is no cookie cutter approach.
No.
Every family is different. Every kid is different. So how we handle them is totally different. Every camp, every time we come in contact with these kids is different.
Sure.
Every time. But we've never tried to convert a kid. Never. That's not our job. Our job is to help them understand for every decision they make in life, there's going to be a consequence. And our goal is to help them and their parents put peace back in their home. Neither one of us are preachers. Well, that's not right. Mr. Denver is ordained, but I'm not. We believe in order to do the best job we can, we're going to need more wisdom, more guidance than ever before.
Amen.
I believe for a long time, children would learn from what they see much faster than what they hear. That's what Mr. Denver was alluding to, modeling the behavior that we want from our children. The calmer a parent is, guess what happens to the kid? Not at first, but eventually it will start calming the kid down because they know they can't push that button and make something happen. Being men of faith doesn't mean we refuse to help those who have no faith or who believe differently than we do. Hey guys, we've had a whole bunch of people with no faith.
Amen. And that's what our hope is, Glenn. We want everybody to come because we love Jesus. And our goal is to share that love with everybody we come in contact with. That's always been our plan from the beginning. Even Jesus did that. He simply, before he saved them, he fed them. He met their basic needs. He fed them and then he led them. And God has given you the plan, Glenn, to help parents deal with the earthly issues. And then we model that love before them. And guess what? they gravitate to that love. And we have seen many parents come to Christ and saved and loving Jesus today as a result of the ministry God placed in your hand. And I'm so glad to be a part of the process because, very rarely do you get a chance to see something happen from the beginning to the end. But we've been around long enough to see this process take hold in a parent's life, watch them transform from a complete atheist to a God-loving, Bible-thumping believer.
Yeah.
That is powerful, Glenn.
Absolutely.
And their families are thriving.
Absolutely. The simple fact is this, we care about families. In other words, we have a family in crisis that comes to us, and that's all we care about. That's the qualifications to get to us.
That's it.
The simple fact is this, we care about families. In other words, if you have a family in crisis that comes to us, they're on board. We don't care. We're not preaching to them. We're not making them believe anything except this plan works.
But this has been your life work, Glenn. And one of the greatest things that you could have done was submit to the will of God to do this process. Because if we need better parents, we need better parents today more than we ever needed it before. Because our world, is in total chaos because we have a epidemic of fatherlessness. We have parents, who don't know what they're doing or how to do anything different. They're reading all the books by the experts, and most of the stuff is nonsense, which is the reason why I got a master's degree in mental health and marriage and family, to be able to understand what these parents are being taught so I can help reprogram them and show them a better way. And the better way is from the scriptures. The nonsense most of these quote unquote professionals are giving, they don't even have families of their own. And so I've learned from having my own 9 children how to do this process, how to work with kids and build families, because God gave me wisdom to come alongside you to help with that process. And it's just been a great journey so far. And I'm looking forward to continuing that.
Absolutely. We've got big plans. We have literally, in my world, it's called an audible. The play's been changed big time. For over 20 years now, we've had hands-on dealing with kids. The parents have always been involved in this process. We never, ever left them out of the process. We know as the home goes, so goes America. Well, I'm telling you guys, America is not going too good. So what's going on in the house? So if we can get these families to come to us, we figured out that they're not going to parent conferences anymore. They're not going to get advice from some expert. They're going straight to social media, be it YouTube channels, be it podcasts, be it somewhere on the internet. That's where they go today. That's the young family. So our target from here on out in 2026 and beyond is to reach those young families with children 10 and below for one reason. We don't ever want them to have to deal with what we've dealt with for over 20 years.
Out of control, adolescent behavior.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible thing to deal with. And we've seen impossible. Parents come to our camp that were beaten and abused by those kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally hands-on physically beaten and abused. And we come alongside that parent and we help them walk through that process because they still want to be parents, although that child is out of control.
Absolutely. The bottom line is we have a solid parenting plan. And actually, we don't even call it a plan. It is a lifestyle.
Amen.
You have to be willing to change the way you've been doing. I don't have a clue. None of us have a clue how parents have been raising their kids. But this we do know. It's not working. Why in heaven's name would we want to keep doing something looking for a different result that hasn't worked in 20, 30, 14, 15 years?
Yeah.
So we're going to change. That's why our motto has always been change parents will see change kids. And the first thing we're going to do is help those kids, those defiant, hard-headed, knucklehead kids realize that mom and dad are not alone anymore. And by the way, we have a lot of single parents. Moms come to us in desperate need for help. I have a real heart for mamas because I had a mama that loved me way more than the rest of her kids. That's what I tell my siblings.
Makes you feel good.
They get riled up when I start talking about that. But mamas mean a lot to me and Mr. Denver. I know
Amen.
that. And so we want those kids to know their parents have come to us for support and help. And we're good at what we do. Yeah, I'm not bragging. We got proof. And we're going to be sharing those success stories in the months and years to come. So if you're a person of faith, come on. If you're not a person of faith, come on. We don't care. We just want to help you put peace in your home. And Mr. Denver, you know why it's important for us to help those parents get peace in their home?
Absolutely. It is very important to put the peace back in their home because it affects the classroom. It affects going to grandma's house, grandpa. I mean, it affects everything because when your household is peaceful, then that peace is transferred to everywhere. And then it'll affect the crime rate. It affects everything across the board.
Mr. Denver, John Rutherford, Sheriff John Rutherford, I can call him John when I'm not around everybody. Sheriff Rutherford is now Congressman John Rutherford. He said to me when we first started over 20 years ago, he said, Glenn, if you can do what you're proposing to do, you're going to be helping me fight crime. So get ready. Our YouTube channel's coming out. Our podcast is coming out very soon, and we're excited about it. And we hope and pray that you will get involved and then help tell somebody there's help and hope on the way. God bless. Thank you.
All righty.